Welcome back to Let's Talk Mental Health and Relationship. I'm your host, Willem Elton Kifti Kalipakar. Today's episode focuses on a topic that so many people struggle to understand: depression versus sadness. Depression and sadness are two different experiences, but they can look similar on the surface. However, they are very different in depth, duration, and impact. Understanding the difference, it doesn't just help us support others better, it allows us to understand ourselves with more clarity and compassion. So let's dive and unpack what sadness is, what depression is, and how we can tell one from the other. What is sadness? Sadness is a universal human emotion. It's a natural response to life's disappointments, losses, and challenges. When something meaningful to us changes, whether it's the end of a relationship, it's a conflict, a setback, or even a movie that is emotional. Sadness is a body and mind's healthy way of processing a moment. Have you ever watched a movie where you cry because someone died in it or because a romantic scene happened? A few important things about sadness to know. Sadness is temporary, it's brief. Sadness is usually linked to a specific event. It comes in waves, but still allows us to experience joy in other areas of our lives. Sadness invites us to pause, reflect, and sometimes even connect more deeply with others. Sadness is uncomfortable, but it's also normal, and it passes with time. Now, we've looked at what sadness is. What is depression? Depression, on the other hand, is not just an emotion. Depression is a mental health condition. Depression affects how a person feels, thinks, behaves, and even how their body functions. Depression may include sadness. This may confuse you. Sadness, however, does not include depression because it's brief. But depression, on the other hand, includes sadness, but it goes far beyond that. Some key characteristics of depression are: depression lasts at least 2 weeks, often much longer than that. Depression interferes with our daily functioning, like work, relationships, sleep, and even our appetite. It changes. Depression is not always tied to a specific event, while sadness, on the other hand, is tied to a specific event. Depression can feel heavy, it's very numbing, or empty, not just sad. People with depression often describe it as feeling stuck, not feeling anything at all. It's like emptiness, losing interest in things that were once enjoyable to them, being exhausted all the time. Depression affects the brain's chemistry, and it can change how a person views themselves and the world. Why, unlike sadness, you cannot simply snap out of it. So, how do we distinguish sadness from depression? Sadness fades away with time, while depression lingers and can worsen without support, the proper support. Sadness usually has a clear trigger, while depression may appear without any identifiable cause. With sadness, people can still work, socialize, and even enjoy some moments of life. While with depression, motivation, energy, sleep, appetite, and concentration are often disrupted. Sadness still allows room for hope. Depression, on the other hand, often feels hopeless, heavy, or empty. People experiencing sadness can still laugh, enjoy food, or feel comfort, while people with depression often experience anhedonia. And what that means is the inability to feel pleasure. How many of us have experienced the lack of pleasure in things we all used to like? Understanding these differences helps reduce stigma and encourages people to seek appropriate support. What happens when sadness becomes depression? Let's look at that for a minute. Sometimes sadness can develop into depression, especially if the loss or stress is intense or prolonged. For example, grief that turns into ongoing hopelessness. What are you grieving about? The loss of a loved one, or the loss of a pet, the loss of a friend, family. It turns into ongoing hopelessness sometimes. Chronic stress that wears down emotional resilience. Unresolved trauma that begins affecting your mood and motivation. I want you to remember something. This is a good rule of thumb. If sadness becomes persistent, overwhelming, or disruptive, it's important to check in with a mental health professional. Depression is common and highly treatable, especially through therapy. Your lifestyle changes, your support systems, and sometimes medication can make a life-changing difference for every one of us. How do we support someone experiencing depression or sadness? Whether someone is sad or depressed, support matters. How do you support them? There are different ways in which we support our loved ones as experiencing depression or sadness. But the type of support you give, it looks different from the type of support I'll give. For someone who is sad, we have to offer listening ears. We have to offer companionship. We have to validate their feelings. We have to encourage healthy outlets like journaling, resting, or spending time with people to love. For someone who may experience depression, we have to encourage professional help. We have to do it gently, not forcefully. We have to be patient with them. Depression slows everything down. We have to avoid cliches like cheer up or just be positive. We have to check in on them regularly. Even small gestures matter. You don't have to fix them, they don't need fixing. Just being present with them can be deeply healing. Sadness is part of the human experience, but depression is a deeper, more pervasive condition that deserves understanding and care. Knowing the difference helps us respond with compassion, both toward ourselves and the people we love. If you're listening today and you recognize symptoms of depression in yourself, you're not alone. Help is available. Healing is possible. And reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness. Thank you for joining me today on this important conversation. Until next time, take care of your mind, your heart, and your emotional well being. Thank you.